Well, good afternoon, YouTube. Here it is, the 2020 Beta 300 two-stroke. And my God, have they changed some things. This bike's just been dropped off straight from the now near Beta dealer. Our customer's been coming to us for a couple of years, and he knows how he wants his bike set up, and we're going to look after it for him. This one is absolutely stock as the dealer has prepared it. It come from Crazy Dogs in Caboolture. It has still got the lovely tail tidy and super cool mirrors fitted. But I wanted to just take a quick time, have a bit of a walk around with it and talk about the differences, because this has so many changes from the 19 models, and the most amount of changes we've seen on a Beta in a very, very long time. So I guess starting with the first thing that you notice, the looks of the bike, a completely redesigned plastics package. And I know they did change it up a bit in 19, but it wasn't that different, where this is a huge, huge change. And even things like the thickness of the mudguard here has changed. The headlight is a lot more aggressive looking. There's vents in the headlight. It looks awesome. Obviously different tank shrouds, very, very sort of thin design on the tank shrouds, and very slimmed down side panels as well. I'll take that off in a minute because all in here has changed as well. Different seat release button. This is much nicer than the old small round button. Better when you got gloves on as well. Thinned out, more streamlined rear mudguard, and the tail tidy. So the old Betas, well, as far as all of the ones that I'm aware of from 13 on, they had a small lip that would come down to about here, and then this big section bolted onto that. This version, this all appears to be one piece, so I'm not sure. I'm waiting for the owner to see. He mentioned there was another piece, but yeah, this is no good for people doing serious off-roading, and we're going to have to do something with that. Looking at the bike rear on, now I guess it's quite difficult not having something to compare it, but this here, so this section where the seat comes down, on the older generations that would go straight down, where on this there's this lip here, and it's literally, I honestly think it's a good 15 mil wider on each side of the seat. I do think that's probably going to help with something for your legs to grip onto. It's really not coming up on the camera, but there's a significant ridge there. So maybe step pegs aren't going to be as useful on this generation. But yeah, it's a bit of a big girl. Looking at it from this angle, the tank really looks as wide as I'm going to say it's as wide as a WR450, where the Beta's have always been quite a slim bike. Exhaust appears to be the same from the 19s. It is the Arrow system. Actually, I'm just going to put a light on so we get a bit more light here. Yeah, it is the Arrow exhaust system. This engine is the one that's supposed to have the counterbalancer in it. I'll start it up in a minute. It doesn't feel, at idle and just riding around in the car park, it does not feel any different to the previous generation. So I don't know if they've done a bit of marketing hype, but it's definitely not a huge change vibration wise around here. It might be different once you get out in the bush, who knows, we'll find out shortly, I guess. Yeah, anyway, sorry, Arrow exhaust system. The frame is definitely different, completely different design on the subframe. Swing arm appears to be the same. Foot peg design is different, and obviously having this panel up here is a very big change from where they used to have the tank shrouds coming right in. I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. It's a very, very flat seating position coming up into the tank filler. Map switch has moved down here. Not sure what was wrong with it up there. It's also gone from a basic toggle switch to just a normal press button. It'll be interesting to see if that develops any problems over time. Huge change with the dash cluster. The cluster is actually, it appears to be deeper down in there, which is good. It'll keep it out of the way of hits or anything, and it is a more slimline cluster. I'll power that up in a minute as well because the display does work differently. Bar pad has changed. It is a thicker bar pad to the previous models. Same grips, same starter button, same light controls. Looks like the same lever setup. Triple clamps are different. Wow, they appear to be different. They're more slimline. And another big improvement that I noticed earlier, the way that these fork protectors are actually made and the way that they've got support built into them down the bottom, it's much better than the previous generations. I like that. I've got to say, all in all, the bike looks pretty damn cool. It's definitely brought it up into the modern range, and you can put it next to a 2020 KTM, which I think is also another awesome looking bike, and it's going to look the business. Yeah, they've definitely made some cosmetic changes. Something else that I noticed earlier when I was having a bit of a look, the size of the radiators are much bigger. I actually placed a 2019 thermofan onto this just to see if they were going to fit, and this radiator is a good 15 to 20 mil wider than the previous generation. They have changed the radiator cap. It's gone from a screw-on, it's gone from the push and twist type cap to a full threaded cap, which is what's been on the cross trainers for quite a few years. But it's a bit dicky when you're in the bush with gloves on. We had a couple of customers when we were selling the cross trainers that did actually cross-thread this style cap, but if you're, so yeah, even there, it wants to cross-thread straight away. Yeah, you've got to be careful with that. That's on. Gosh, she's a good looking bike. Under the seat, let's see if I can do this one-handed. I can. Woo! Actually, I'll come around to the other side. With the seat, very, very thin. That's thinner than the Kato seats, I think. It is a much softer foam than what they've had in previous years, and riding around the car park, I actually think it's going to be quite comfortable. A lot of design work under there, and very nicely hand-finished seat cover. Not that beaters don't hand-finish things nicely, but sometimes they like to cut corners, those Italians. Inside the battery compartment, obviously the new subframe design. Everything is much, to me, it feels much more heavy-duty and thicker than the previous generation. Same battery that was in the 18 onwards models. They've changed the oil, the two-stroke oil cap design, tank design. This, I think, is going to work a little bit better. On the previous generations, the tank filler was actually lower than the top of the tank. The tank used to come up into the side of the subframe, where now this is the top of the tank by the looks of things, which is good. I'll just pop open the air filter access. Which is just super easy. These clips are always hard when they're new. Whew, caught it, we're alright. Sorry, Ben, if you're watching this. Cool, so that's come off. The air filter design is different. This is more of a KTM style design. CDI units tucked up under there. Yeah, everything's definitely got, it looks more finished. Everything has a place. Wiring's good, insulation is good. On the previous generations, there was a bit, it was a bit haphazard. Like there wasn't a lot of thought put into where they were running wires in this area. Where this is all done really nicely. It's got a little bit more refinement than beaters used to have. That is for sure. Cool. The tank. Definitely something that's quite important. I haven't actually had the exact specs, but this tank is about a litre bigger than the previous generations, and it's wider as well. Again, it goes in, when you look at it from the back of the bike, you can see how much wider everything is. The side flares, or side compartments on the tank are quite thick, and the tank is huge, which is good. A lot of customers did not like the fuel capacity in the previous generation, so it's good to see beaters actually listening. And lastly, just quickly, it has got a new, can't really see it in there, but it's a different thermostat design, and I assume that's come about. These radiators, they've probably got a good 20 to 30% more surface area than the previous generation, so in colder climates they're going to need that thermostat to get the bike up to temperature. So I just put the side panel and the seat back on, and we'll give it a start up. No, they haven't gone to fuel injection, which I think's good. I much prefer the simplicity of the carby setups on these two-stroke bikes for now, despite what all the KTM lovers say. Although that injection system is getting better. So with the... It's hard to do one-handed. The Speedo has come to life. Oh, come on, focus. Yes, it's got a different font in the Speedo and different amount. Well, it's just different layout in general, which I much prefer. It's got the nice clock up there. You can go through the trip menus, and we'll change the mode. It's gone to an actual readout on the voltage instead of the bar graph that we used to have on the previous generations, which I think is much better. And you'll see that's reading 0.5 volts at the moment. That will go up and actually show you what the bike's charging at once you turn it on, which we'll do in a second. Yeah, so they're the menus. All right, let's start her up. This is something I need 2 hands for. 2 seconds. Okay, we're going to have to go with a 2 take on this one because I'm now off the bike. But yeah, basically this is a startup and how they start. The dash fires up, runs through its little systems check, which is good. I like that. Not that these electronic systems are overly complex on the beaters, but I know it's just making sure the TPS is functioning properly and the oil system is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Now, the relocated map switch makes much more sense now. Obviously, they've got a fair bit of electronics in there, which is why it's gone from a basic rocker switch. But it makes it much easier to tell which mode you've got it in. They have done something a bit strange. The sun light, the sun indicator light, which is for your more powerful map dry conditions, is blue, and the rain light is white. I would have thought maybe make the rain one blue and the sun one red or something, but anyway, it is very easy to see which map you're in by just quickly glancing. Where, to be fair, when it was the old rocker style up here, you did really have to feel it when you're on the bike to see what was going on. Yeah. She sounds good. You can probably just still make out the vibrations from the mudguard. It's still vibrating. But nice crisp. I'm looking forward to getting out and having a ride on it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope it gives you some insight on what the 2020 beaters are like. This is the 2-stroke version. Hopefully we'll have a 4-stroke in shortly. Thank you for watching.